I never thought I'd be the villain of my own story. But here I am, Devin Carter, 33 years old, once a respected social worker in Chicago, now nothing more than a cautionary tale. This is a story of how I lost everything. My best friend, my career, and my self-respect, all because I couldn't handle the truth that the woman I loved chose someone else. It all started with Nina Walker. God, even saying her name now sends a shiver down my spine. We'd been best friends since high school, inseparable through college and into our careers. Nina, with her infectious laugh and fierce determination, had always been the brightest star in my universe. I'd loved her for as long as I could remember, but I never had the courage to tell her. I always thought there'd be time, that one day, when the moment was right, I'd confess my feelings and she'd realize I was the one she'd been waiting for all along. But life doesn't work that way. It doesn't wait for cowards like me to find their courage. It was a Tuesday when Nina called me, her voice bubbling with excitement. She'd just returned from a vacation in Seattle and couldn't wait to tell me about this amazing guy she'd met. Adam Bennett, she said, was everything she'd ever wanted in a partner. He was kind, intelligent, and had the most adorable son, Lucas. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut, but I smiled and listened, playing the role of the supportive best friend while my world crumbled around me. Adam Bennett. Even his name sounded perfect. As Nina gushed about Adam, I couldn't help but fixate on one detail. He was white, a successful architect from suburban Seattle, with a life so different from ours in Chicago. How could he possibly understand Nina's struggles as a black woman in America? How could he relate to our experiences, our culture? These thoughts festered in my mind, growing like a cancer. I convinced myself that Adam wasn't right for Nina, that he could never truly appreciate her. And in my twisted logic, I decided that it was my duty to protect her from making a terrible mistake. That's when I made my first move. It was subtle at first, a few offhand comments about interracial relationships and their challenges. I casually mentioned stories I'd heard about white partners who couldn't handle the realities of being with a person of color. Nina would brush these off, assuring me that Adam was different, but I could see the seeds of doubt I was planting. As their relationship progressed, so did my desperation. I started fabricating stories, each one more elaborate than the last. I told Nina I'd seen Adam's name pop up on a dating app. I implied that he seemed uncomfortable around her black friends. I even suggested that his family might not approve of their relationship, but Nina's love for Adam seemed unshakable. She'd laugh off my concerns, telling me I was being paranoid, and every time she defended him, every time she chose him over my warnings, I felt myself slipping further into darkness. Then came the day Nina announced they were moving in together. Something in me snapped. I couldn't bear the thought of losing her completely. So I did the unthinkable. I created a fake social media profile pretending to be Adam's ex-girlfriend. Using this profile, I sent Nina messages detailing a non-existent affair. I crafted a narrative of Adam as a cheater, a liar who was stringing both of us along. I watched as Nina's world fell apart, as doubt and fear replaced the love in her eyes. But it wasn't enough. I needed to make sure Adam would be out of the picture for good, so I took it a step further and accused him of child abuse. I anonymously reported to Child Protective Services that I had witnessed Adam verbally abusing Lucas. The guilt I felt when I saw the pain in Nina's eyes as she told me about the investigation was overwhelming. But I pushed it down, telling myself it was for her own good. As Nina struggled to make sense of what was happening, I played the role of the supportive friend. I was there with a shoulder to cry on, with words of comfort and understanding. All the while, I was feeding her insecurities, reinforcing her doubts about Adam. I told her that Adam's reluctance to introduce her to his family was because they were racist. I invented stories about Adam planning to move away with Lucas, cutting Nina out of their lives completely. I even suggested that Adam was in financial trouble and might be using Nina for her money. Each lie felt like a knife in my gut, but I couldn't stop. I was in too deep, and the thought of Nina discovering the truth terrified me more than anything. The final straw came when I sent Nina a bouquet of flowers, ostensibly from Adam, with a note containing hurtful lies about their relationship. But as I stood in the wreckage of what I'd done, I realized the horrible truth. I hadn't protected Nina. I destroyed her. The vibrant, confident woman I loved was gone, replaced by a shell of her former self. And it was all my fault. The guilt began to eat away at me. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. Every time I looked in the mirror, I saw a monster staring back at me. I had become the very thing I accused Adam of being. A liar, a manipulator, someone who had hurt Nina beyond measure. I tried to backpedal, to undo some of the damage I'd done. I told Adam that Nina was happy without him, hoping he'd give up and I could somehow make things right. I spread rumors that Nina was interested in someone new, thinking it would discourage Adam from fighting for her. But it was too late. The web of lies I'd spun was too complex, too damaging to be undone. And as I watched Nina struggle to pick up the pieces of her life, I knew I had to confess. The day I told Nina the truth was the hardest day of my life. I laid it all out, my long-hidden love for her, my jealousy of Adam, every lie I'd told and every manipulation I'd orchestrated. I watched as disbelief turned to horror, then to a cold, hard anger I'd never seen in her eyes before. "How could you?" she whispered, her voice shaking with rage and betrayal. "I trusted you, Devin. You were my best friend." The past tense hit me like a physical blow. I tried to explain, to apologize, but the words felt hollow even to my own ears. There was no justification for what I'd done. Nina left that day, and I knew with a sickening certainty that she would never forgive me. And why should she? I betrayed her in the worst possible way, all because I couldn't handle my own feelings. The aftermath of my confession was swift and merciless. Nina cut all ties with me. My other friends, when they learned what I'd done, distanced themselves one by one. Even my colleagues at work looked at me differently, the respect I'd earned over years of dedicated service evaporating in the face of my actions. I tried to make amends, to explain myself to Adam, but he wanted nothing to do with me. And who could blame him? I'd accused him of cheating, of child abuse, of racism. I'd nearly cost him custody of his son. There was no coming back from that. As the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, I found myself increasingly isolated. The life I'd built in Chicago, the community I'd been a part of, it all slipped away. I was alone, haunted by the consequences of my actions. I threw myself into therapy, desperate to understand why I'd done what I'd done, to find a way to become a better person. But the road to redemption, I quickly learned, is long and lonely. I often find myself wondering about Nina and Adam. Did they find a way to rebuild their relationship after the havoc I wreaked? Is Lucas okay? These questions keep me up at night, a constant reminder of the pain I caused. Sometimes, in my darkest moments, I think about reaching out to Nina, to apologize again, to see if there's any way to salvage even a shred of our friendship. But I know it's selfish. I've caused her enough pain. The kindest thing I can do now is to stay away, to let her heal without the constant reminder of my betrayal. As for me, I'm trying to rebuild my life, piece by painful piece. I left Chicago, the city too full of memories and the weight of my mistakes. I moved to a small town in Oregon, where nobody knows me or what I've done. I'm working at a local community center, trying to use my skills as a social worker to help others. It's not the career I had in Chicago, but it's a start. Every day is a struggle. The guilt never really goes away, but I'm learning to live with it, to use it as a motivation to be better, to do better. I know I can never undo what I've done, but maybe, just maybe, I can use this experience to help others avoid making the same mistakes. If there's one thing I've learned from this whole ordeal, it's that love, real love, isn't about possession or control. It's about wanting the best for someone, even if that best doesn't include you. I love Nina, or at least I thought I did, but what I felt wasn't love. It was obsession. It was selfishness. It was fear. Real love. The kind Nina and Adam shared. The kind I destroyed is about trust, respect, and selflessness. It's about supporting each other through the hard times, not creating those hard times. It's about honesty, not lies. It's about building each other up, not tearing others down. I think about the man I was. The man who could justify lying to and manipulating his best friend all in the name of love, and I hardly recognize him. That man was a coward, afraid to face his own feelings, afraid of rejection, afraid of change. That man let his fear and jealousy turn him into a monster. But monsters can change. At least, I hope they can. Every day, I wake up and make a conscious choice to be better than I was the day before. To be honest, even when it's hard. To be kind, even when I'm hurting. To be brave in the face of my own fears and insecurities. I don't know if I'll ever fully forgive myself for what I did to Nina and Adam. I don't know if I deserve forgiveness, but I do know that I can't let my past define my future. I have to keep moving forward, keep trying to be a better person, a person worthy of the friendship I so carelessly threw away. To Nina, wherever you are, I hope you're happy. I hope you and Adam found a way to overcome the damage I caused. I hope Lucas is thriving. I hope you found the love and happiness you deserve. And I hope that one day, the pain I caused you will be nothing more than a distant memory. To Adam, I'm sorry. Those words feel inadequate given the magnitude of what I did, but they're all I have. I'm sorry for doubting you, for trying to come between you and Nina, for the lies I spread about you. You were a better man than I gave you credit for, and I hope you and Nina have built the life together that I tried so hard to prevent. And to anyone reading this, learn from my mistakes. Don't let fear and jealousy poison your heart. Don't let insecurity turn you into someone you're not. Love isn't about possession or control. It's about support, trust, and wanting the best for someone, even if that best isn't you. I am Devin Carter, and this is my story. A story of jealousy, betrayal, and the long, hard road to redemption. I can't change my past, but I can shape my future. And every day, I choose to be better, because that's all any of us can do. Choose to be better, kinder, more honest versions of ourselves. In the end, that's the real love story. Learning to love ourselves enough to let others find their own happiness, even if it's not with us.